Good evening, I'm Sharzat Morgan. I wanted to say just something about the politics. I used to think that we had a vote in selecting the president and that the president is the figurehead of our country who makes important decisions. And maybe at one time it was that way, but at some point it changed. And I do not know exactly when it changed. I think it could have been in 2016. But it's apparent to me now that the president is not only a figurehead, but that the powers that be, the deep state, CIA, FBI, whatever, they don't want a president who has opinions or represents the people. They want an airhead. And that's exactly why nobody spoke up when they all knew that Biden was senile. In fact, remember, it was Bernie Sanders who won the primaries in 2016. He was the front runner. But the deep state didn't want a Bernie Sanders, a populist. So they took him out and they installed Biden. Biden was not chosen. He lost all the early primaries, or whatever they're called. So Bernie stepped aside, was a good boy for the party, and they put in Biden. And Biden was senile already then, and he just got worse. And they kept saying on all the Democratic megaphone news stations, MSNBC, CNN, all of them, they were saying that he was the best. I think I'm talking about 2020. I'm sorry, 2020. I have my years mixed up. I'm sorry. But I'm talking about when Bernie was the front runner, they put Biden in. So yeah, that was 2020. Okay, but 2016, they had a problem. Remember, it was Obama. He was a good old boy. He started 4 wars. He gave us the Patriot Act, or was that Bush? Bush was a good old boy too, for the warmongers, for the suppression of speech, for the control. So there's a deep state. That's what I'm trying to say, that has been getting more and more entrenched, and they have an agenda. They're run by powerful corporations and special interests. They want to start wars. They want to control us. They want to do this Patriot Act thing. The spying on us and all of that, controlling our free speech. And it's not just the U.S. Europe is in on it. NATO is part of it. The European Union is part of it too. So they have an agenda, and in the U.S. it doesn't really matter who's elected. In fact, they want someone who doesn't stand for anything. Joe Biden was senile. He wasn't running anything. Well, he's not running anything now. And notice no one is saying anything. No one seems to care, like it's all okay, because, see, it's all running on these people are still running things. Joe was just the front person. Now they've exposed the fact. They've exposed themselves. Because they've admitted Joe is senile. They've installed Kamala, someone who had to drop out of the primary. She never even made it. She lost the debate to Tulsi Gabbard, who was also a Democrat, but now she's gone on the Republican side. And by the way, I was always more of a Democrat-leaning person because they were the anti-war party, the pro-worker party. And I just think this is not our parents' Democratic Party anymore. They've been co-opted. They've all been co-opted. But anyway, when Trump won over Hillary, they were shocked. They tried to make him look bad. Remember? And I kept thinking at the time when he was running, why they kept saying all these bad things about Trump and what was wrong with me for not liking him. Because I was still watching all that propaganda news. I believed all of it. CNN, MSNBC, I can't remember all the other ones, but I would also watch C-SPAN, NPR, PBS NewsHour. Like, I believed all of that stuff. I believed in Russiagate. I believed in, they were going to get Trump. I believed a lot of everything they said. Okay, I only stopped believing in 2020 when everything was, what I can't talk about. So, anyway, they didn't think Trump would win. Hillary thought she was going to get it because she's also part of the deep state. I think she's one of the people running things, not Obama. She's a big warmonger. Obama's just a good speaker, but he's really not that smart. Hillary, she's the conniving one. She's the conniving one, I think. I think Obama just wants to be liked. Hillary, she's the conniver. That's just what I think. I could be wrong. Anyway, so Trump gets in and they're shocked. They're never going to let this happen again. And now they start finding all this stuff on him because remember, they were trying to make him look bad and say that he was this and that. And they spun everything about him. Maybe he was a liar. Someone told me, oh yeah, I can't stand Trump. He's such a liar. And he did lie about a lot of things, but they all lie. I mean, Tim Walz lied about being in the military. Biden lied. Kamala lies. I don't keep track of people's lies, but they all lie. But he's just so brainwashed from the media, he has not yet unbrainwashed himself. And I unbrainwashed myself in 2020. I started questioning everything. Now I'm even wondering if we actually landed on the, am I allowed to say that? You know, the thing that lights in the sky at night? I'm questioning everything because there were so many lies. The government lying, the media lying, and the media just being a mouthpiece for whatever party they're in. And most of the media is Democrat-led. So anybody who's Democrat really thinks that the Democrats are the good ones because they spin everything. Now they're making people think that Kamala, someone that no one ever voted for, she never made it past the first state in the primaries. She lost the debate to Tulsi Gabbard. She doesn't know how to string a couple sentences together. She has no ideas or opinions. She avoids the press. She's all made out to be the second coming of Christ. Going to change everything. She's in power now. She doesn't answer any questions. She pretends she's black. I mean, she's perfect for the deep state. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Nothing against her because she's exactly what the deep state wants. Someone with no opinions. Someone who's, like Dave Smith was saying today in his podcast, just, a woman. You can paint anything you want onto her. And their campaign is so smart because it's working. That's the thing, because so many people have not woken up. I think some people believe everything they hear. They haven't realized that the Republican Party started switching teams from caring about the people to just being a megaphone for the corporate donors, the lobbyists, and the deep state. And that's why the whole time Trump was in office, they made up stuff about him. That Russiagate thing, it came out. I believed all of it. I watched all the shows for days on end. Oh yeah, they're going to get that Trump. He's bad. We got to get Trump. I really thought that. Even though I kept thinking, I don't dislike him. I don't know why I don't dislike him. I kind of like him. He seems very honest and very... But he lied too. He didn't pay his contractors. I don't know what else. But they made up a whole bunch of stuff about Russiagate, which was a Hillary Clinton operation. Then they went after him for this thing with using $130,000 of his campaign funds to pay off the stripper so that the story wouldn't come out, which is a campaign finance violation. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but what about all those people who stole billions from Wall Street and made our economy almost crash? What about Nancy Pelosi doing insider trading? What about all those illegal wars we started? And Bush, he's a war criminal. So why don't they go after him? So something seemed off. They're not going after the big people. They're going after Trump for this little, he shouldn't have done it, but in comparison to all the other crimes that these people commit that are ignored, why that one? And then the thing about his real estate, exaggerating the value of the real estate, and these loans have already all been repaid. So we're just looking for stuff, keeping him tied up in the legal proceedings, making him spend a bunch of money on lawyers and making him look bad. And in the end, the 34 felonies, but people kept liking him. So this is how I started changing my mind about Trump. I started asking myself why he's so popular, why people like him. And then I started noticing some people I really respect like him. And then I started noticing how much the media lies. And then I started noticing that all the stuff they said about him was all made up or exaggerated. And why are they trying to get him? And when they tried to assassinate him, that's when I'm like, someone's trying to keep him from being president. And then I started questioning the other thing we're not supposed to talk about. The whole voting thing last time. Someone told me he volunteers for the voting here in California and how it's done. You can't change anything on the results. But California is a Democratic state. They all vote Democrat. The states where the votes were in dispute were in these swing states, or like in Georgia. Anyway, so people are very trenched in. They don't realize that there's no one running the show, and the only people who can win are people who don't run the show, because the other people will be, what happened to the ear could have. So you gotta stay in line. The U.S. does some weird shit. Did you know that today, the Venezuelan president Maduro, I hope I say this right, his plane, I don't know who was on it, flew to Colombia, and the U.S. seized his plane, because he wasn't supposed to have it because they're sanctioned. And then we say that we're the good guys who have to spread democracy all around the world, because we know all about democracy. We're experts in it. Actually what we're really good at, I'll tell you what we're really good at. We're not good at wars because we lose them all. We're going to lose in Ukraine very shortly, and then we'll try to start one with China. We lose them all, but the warmongers have fun trying. We're really good at coups. That's what we're really good at, coups. I think we've done 88 coups. And we even did one recently that would be 89 in our own country, when they took out Biden and replaced him with Kamala. Kamala was supposed to get it in 2020, but somehow the voters just didn't go for her. And now she doesn't have to say anything. They put her to you on a platter. She's just a woman. You can project whatever we tell you to think about her. That's what you're going to project onto her. Whatever we think about her, we're going to tell you what to think. And people believe it. I used to believe everything they said too. I used to believe everything they said, and a lot of it turned out to be lies. Now, when the Russiagate turned out to be lies, I thought they were also fooled. I thought they're not very good journalists, but surely they're going to apologize. No, they don't apologize. They just go on to the next lie because they don't want to admit they were wrong. It was all part of the plan to keep us fooled. And they want us to think they're so authentic and forget about the next thing. A lot of people just automatically vote Democrat because they've always done, or vote Republican because they've always done. But I also know people who don't follow the news. They're very busy, with working or whatever. They're very busy and they don't really, they're not that interested in it. I wasn't either until recently. I got really interested in all this stuff when we started the war in Ukraine, the NATO. Okay, I'm from West Germany, and I remember the wall. When I lived in Germany, there was the wall. And I remember in the 90s when Russia took down the wall, and I was so impressed with Russia. And that's another thing, they brainwashed us to think Russia is bad. But I actually lived in West Germany where there was a wall and there was a Russia. I'm supposed to hate Russia. And I grew up being afraid of Russia dropping bombs on us, these bad Russians. So I'm the one that was brainwashed against Russia. But I like Russia. They seem like they want peace. I don't think that they're perfect. They don't allow Twitter. They do a lot of speech control stuff. They don't allow gay people, you know. But Putin has an 80% approval rating. Not everyone likes him, just like not everyone here likes Biden or Kamala or Trump. But when Russia took down the wall, I believe it was Nixon. Was it Nixon? Brezhnev was the foreign minister. No, it was in the 90s. Kissinger? Oh, I don't know. It was in the 90s, though, I remember. And they promised, Gorbachev, I believe it was, that you take down this wall, Reagan, you take down this wall, and we will not expand NATO one country past Germany. So we have this neutrality between Russia and the US, many neutral countries in between. Because we have two big nuclear powers, you know, you don't want to like saber rattle each other. Well, country by country, NATO, the supposed peace agency, which actually has started so many wars. Yugoslavia is one. I saw a whole list of them the other day that NATO has started. They're an invasive, warmongering party led by the US. But they also like it, the wars. The Germans have become very evil. Not my Germany anymore. So country by country, NATO expanded towards Russia. Country by country. And then in 2014, they did a coup. Just like they did here with Biden, but worse, because that guy was ousted. And it was a Russia-friendly president that the Ukrainians had elected, and they put in Zelensky. The U.S. was part of that, and they put in Zelensky, and they create unrest in the country first, and then they have like a whole way of doing it that I do not know, not a military person, but they put in Zelensky, and they started training Ukrainians and putting NATO troops in, and training Ukrainians. And Ukraine has a lot of these paramilitary, like, supremacist groups that were killing the Russians. There were like 14,000 Russians they killed in the Donbass since 2014. People don't know that. They started bringing U.S. military equipment and NATO military equipment right on the border of Russia. And the current head of the CIA already told in the 90s, we cannot get close to Russia because that is their red line. Everyone knew it was a red line for Russia to bring NATO weapons right on their border. They don't tell you that in the news, that was a red line, and that Russia tried for years to have peace negotiations, and the U.S. refused because they always wanted a war with Russia. Hillary Clinton has a hard-on for Putin. She wants to eliminate him. She wants to get rid of Putin. And Hillary Clinton is running the show. She's the warmonger. She's planning Kamala's campaign right now. She's in charge. And I don't know if he rebuffed her. I had someone saying that on a podcast. I don't know if he rebuffed her or what her deal is. But she wants him out. She wants somebody else in. What a lot of people don't realize is that Putin is very measured. If he goes out, one of these guys that wants to really retaliate against all this U.S. aggression would come in. It would be worse. Putin is not responding to all the escalation attempts by the U.S. and by NATO. So the U.S. and NATO went right on the border of Russia with all of their weapons, all of their trained personnel. And so Russia did this little invasion in, was it February 2022? Hoping that would be like, hey guys, we need to talk, we need to stop this. And it was the Istanbul Communique. Look up Istanbul Communique. It was a couple months in or something. It was right at the beginning. And Zelensky and Putin struck a deal. And it was in Istanbul. And they were going to have a ceasefire. And the U.S. sent Boris Johnson over there. And he nixed the whole deal because they want war. They want to weaken Russia. That's their goal. They want to break Russia into territories, get rid of Putin, and maintain U.S. and UK and NATO hegemony and be the strongest. That's what they want. So they want the war to continue. And so a lot of people are like, oh, well, Putin didn't have a very good start to the war. He never intended to go on. Well, then he had to build up his army, and now Ukraine is almost done. The U.S. is going to pull out of Ukraine, like they pulled out of Afghanistan, like they pulled out of Iraq, but they need another war. So guess where the next war is going to be? China and Taiwan. They've already been putting military equipment there. They're getting ready for it. The only thing that's keeping us from major war is that we have leaders, not perfect, in China and Russia who are not interested in escalating and doing war. See, we like to do war. Europe likes to do war, but not these BRICS countries. They are more right now very interested in trade, cooperation, setting up a different currency to compete with the dollar. Like they're adding countries all the time. They want to do trade, and war is the opposite of what they want. China has been around for 5,000 years. They're not going around invading countries. Russia has been around longer than the U.S. Aside from a little thing where Afghanistan asked them to step in and help, they're not around doing coups and whatever, taking or going to war with big countries. And some people are like, oh, well, Putin is bad. He monitors journalists. I'm monitored. I had a strike today on one of my community posts, a warning for misinformation. We're censored. And they're like, oh, but he doesn't do democracy. We do democracy? Excuse me? First of all, we're a republic. And I totally showed you, we install people. Bernie Sanders was the front runner. He's removed. They put in Biden. Trump won. They were surprised. They're not going to let him win again. They tried to take him out the whole time. And they even staged that thing, a few years ago. Because they do insider things to sway public opinion, one of the agencies. So, and you know what? If I get another strike on my channel for any of this stuff, and I'm trying to be very generic in my language, if I get another strike, I'm not making another YouTube channel. I'm just done. I do not want to be on any platforms where I'm censored. Twitter's the only place I'm not censored. Twitter is the only place you're not censored. Mark Zuckerberg just admitted, and I think he's trying to front run something. Somebody has something on him. He just admitted that he censored a lot of stuff, not just about the medical thing that happened, but about the political stuff. He censored anything against the Hunter Biden laptop story, which turns out to be a true story. He was trying to help Biden, and there was more stuff. He wrote a letter to the House of Representatives, and he's trying to get in front of something. Something. Why is he saying that now? And he's a coward because he silenced us on expressing ourselves. The only one who has not silenced us is Elon Musk. I know he has blocked a few people here and there, and I don't know why, but it's the most free of speech platform that there is. And now, to our surprise, because the Democratic Party, they just want some airhead. The three-letter agencies just want an airhead in there. But somehow the Republican Party is allowing the people to have a voice. That's why all the people, it's a populist movement for Trump. Why do they like him? That's for, I don't know exactly. He's just another politician. He does talk about the border, which is really important. He does talk about less war, which is super important to me. He's going to give more tax cuts to the rich. He's still going to send money to Israel. He's not going to save us. And I do not know how much the president can do. But what's interesting is that Democrats that I really liked, I've always liked Tulsi Gabbard. She's a Democrat. Now she's gone to Trump. And I support the Robert Kennedy Jr. campaign. I went to 2 of his fundraisers. And he ran as an independent because the Democratic Party wouldn't let him run. They wouldn't let him run. He had to run as an independent. Then he spent so much money having to get on the ballot in every state, and then they sued him to get him off the ballot. These are their Democrats. They want to make sure nobody gets in power. They install their leader. And now Robert Kennedy went over to Trump. I think Elon Musk is going to Trump. He was also a Democrat. At the same time, I've heard that all these warmonger Republicans, like the Bush Cheney type, have gone over to the Democrat Party. That's now the party of war, the party of censorship, the party where we obviously see that they want someone who doesn't think or have an opinion, who can't talk. I was listening to Dave Smith tonight, and he's like talking about how every podcast he's been on, Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, PBD, Patrick Bet David, the interviews are 2 to 3 hours long. He does 2 to 3 hour interviews, talks constantly. If you're any podcaster has to be able to speak for 2 or 3 hours, but you're running as president and you can't talk for 5 minutes, you won't take questions from the press. That's what they want. They want someone who can't talk because they can't think. Look at me. I've already talked for 26 minutes. And I'm just a mom talking in my guest room right now in the light that I can get. I'm just a mom. I'm not a public speaker or a politician. But they wouldn't want someone like me to run for president, not just because I have a colorful story about myself, but they don't want someone who has opinions and who cares about the people, who cares about things. I will be very surprised if, Trump makes it to the end. I think there's going to be some things happening with the election. Look at how many legal people can vote. I cannot vote. I'm a permanent resident, have been since 1971, but I never got my citizenship, so I can't vote. I was always told I can't vote. Well, now all these illegals are voting. And they're getting free money. But the Republicans want the illegals too. They're cheap labor. Because everyone had their chance to do something about it and nobody wants to. They don't do anything in Washington because it's the three-letter agencies running the show. As long as they can keep selling pharmaceuticals, make money on Wall Street, and start wars, they don't want anyone in there who thinks and has an opinion. Someone like me would be like, no, they would never make it. You have to be an airhead. Obama was kind of an airhead. He was just a big talker. Could talk. What did he do? He did the Obamacare, which is horrible. I hate Obamacare. Bernie Sanders was going to do Medicare for all. That makes sense. But they don't want Bernie Sanders. They got rid of him and put in Biden. They install people. And they can because the DNC is a corporation. Did you know that? They can install whoever they want. And the people fall for it. So the vote is going to be decided by the people in the swing state because the Republicans are already going to vote for Trump. Democrats are going to vote for Kamala, even though she was installed. She never won a primary. She can't put a sentence together. She's kind of a cackling airhead, frankly. And they can't see that. They don't care. It boggles my mind. If at least you had a reason that you liked her, but they don't. It's like, well, she's better than Trump. Well, why don't you like Trump? Well, he lies. He lies. Okay, well, they all lie. Like, what else? Well, he did some fraud on his taxes. You do not think Obama did fraud or Biden did fraud, taking that money from Ukraine? You don't think Obama did fraud, letting all those bankers on Wall Street who almost crashed the world financial system in 2008, none of them ever went to trial? I was very upset about that. They committed a lot of financial crimes. There was no trials. None. They didn't go to jail. They didn't have to pay any fines. A lot of people lost their houses. So don't give me this stuff about Obama. He was just a good, smooth talker, so they got Obama in. And Bush was a good old boy. He was all for the wars. He was Cheney's little lapdog. War. I was so angry with Bush for all those wars. And that's why I don't have a faith to any party. Like, some people are just like, Their party is their religion or their sport. It's their God. I think we have to be a little smarter than that, I think. I mean, you can vote for whoever you want because in the end, it's not going to make a difference. I will say, though, that I don't think Trump started any wars. I do think that he's not that interested in wars, and I think that's why they don't want him. And all the bad things they say about Trump, it's just, who's saying those things? Let's think about it. The people that don't like Trump, and for a long time I didn't, it's because of what the people I trusted in the media were telling me. CNN, MSNBC. I don't remember all the other channels. And I would watch like the clips on YouTube. I started watching Breaking Points, and I started watching different channels, but I think most of my disillusionment with the media came in 2020. But anyway, people who don't like Trump don't like him because the media told them not to like him. You know, unless you don't like his hair or something. But he has kind of a folksy, charming vibe. I don't think he's going to be the savior that people think, but I think if we get a bunch of people in there who stand for no war, although they're all going to keep the war in Israel going. If you do not keep the war in Israel going, Kim Iverson acts so surprised that they all seem anti-war except for Israel. Will have no chance. So let's just stick with someone who's going to stop all the wars but that one. If you get enough people like that in there, if say you got Tulsi Gabbard in there, RFK, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson maybe, maybe some big names on podcasting who would be like a press secretary or something. Anyway, maybe we could make some change. But if we get in who the deep state wants, an airhead, another airhead, Biden gone, now Kamala. I mean, she's a real airhead. We're just going to get what the deep state wants, which is more war and more censorship. But even if these other people get in, I do not know how much it's going to change. I really think that if the people get really upset and start like marching in the street with signs, that might help, but I don't know. I think a lot of people are just so lackadaisical. The fact that Republicans are going to vote Republican, Democrats are going to vote Democrat, so the vote comes down to the swing states, like the swing voters, like the people like Kamala have already decided they like her. Like, why do you like her? Like, I'm just flabbergasted that anyone would like her. That voting for Kamala is voting for an airhead that is just a puppet to the deep state that's just going to keep doing more wars. Why the fuck are we in Ukraine? Oh, this person I know who follows all the Democrats lockstep and heel because Putin wants to take over Europe. Not even NATO is saying that. Nobody's saying that. That must just be like a news thing. Why would he want to take over Europe? He can't. They don't have an army big enough. It's just ridiculous. Oh, because he doesn't have democracy. And we do? Oh, because we don't like his form of government. Why do we care about their form of government? I'm half Iranian. I do not like the Iranian form of government, but why do I care? As long as we get along with them and we can trade with them. Oh, but we sanctioned Iran. That's too bad because they make beautiful rugs and they have a lot of oil and really good food. And if you do business with Iran, you will be sanctioned too. That's right. We're the U.S. We're badass. The only way that we're going to rein in our war powers is by eventually our empire is going to decline. I do not know if any president can make the difference, but I want to know what you think. Do you think that a president really makes a big difference? And if you like Kamala, tell me why you like Kamala. And thank you for watching my video.